There has never been a better time than now to come join the Bellisio Foods team. Bellisio has a new contract in place with plenty of awesome perks for their employees. From increased wages, access to the free health clinic, vacation after 6 months, and much more, Bellisio Foods is committed to putting their employees first. For more information or to apply, visit BellisioFoods.com/careers. Take advantage of these great new employee benefits and join the Bellisio team today. Visit BellisioFoods.com/careers to learn more.
Well, happy Monday, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the morning show right here on Main Street TV. Of course, Jennifer here, all alone, so sad. Actually, we're not all alone. We have a special guest here in just a moment, and it will be really, really fun to talk with him. Hope you had a wonderful weekend, and I know I did. I got to go to a wedding yesterday at Cantor's Cave, and it was gorgeous out there. If you haven't been out, one of Jackson County's hidden gems, Cantor's Cave Lodge, and it was absolutely lovely. Congratulations to Jared and Kaylin, and good time was had by all. So yeah, it was a really, really neat day, and the leaves are in pretty much full effect right now. All right, so we do have a special guest here on the program today, and that is, a former professor of yours, right, James?
That is correct. Benjy was my graphic design and printmaking professor at Rio Grande.
Well, he must have done a fantastic job, because this is how we have our sweet James here, and he has all the skills that he has. So we can congratulate Benjy on that as well. But our guest today is Benjy Davies. And good morning.
Good morning, Jennifer.
Good to have you here. And you are, of course, all the way out in Colorado. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm in Colorado Springs.
Very, very good. So, Benjy, tell everybody a little bit about yourself, and your how you ended up at Rio teaching.
So I grew up in Southern Ohio, and I went to college at Ohio State, and then I did graduate school at Ohio University. So I've been a Buckeye most of my life. I taught for a while at a couple of other colleges and ended up at Rio Grande in 2005. And I started teaching there and stayed until 2019, when I moved to Colorado to take my position now as an associate dean at Pikes Peak Community College.
Well, very good. And so can you give us any little, dirt on James Hamilton?
I don't know if there's any dirt on James. James was really a model student, really bright, really engaged. He really pushed me to challenge me as a teacher and challenge himself as a student and as an artist. He would take on projects that other students weren't doing and do a lot of really intense and focused research. Just a real delight. And you've worked with James for a while now. You know what a joy he is to be around, how kind and generous he is.
He is. He's a good guy.
See, that's why I wanted to invite Benjy, because I knew he would say nice things about me.
I want to know how much money has been exchanged here. I have to know. No, I'm just kidding. No, we love our sweet James, and he is definitely very, very talented, and we are so happy every day to get to spend time together. I think it's been a really good time. All right, so Benjy, you though, so how did you get from Rio out to Colorado Springs?
I took Route 70.
Ooh, all the way?
Yeah, pretty much. You pretty much go to Route 70 and just head west until you get to the mountains. I was working at Rio, and there were some changes there at the university, and it seemed like a good time for me, for my career, to move on to another position. Because of the academic job market is fairly slim, it's difficult typically to stay in one place. And I thought that I'd like to move to someplace interesting that I'd never been, and someplace that I would enjoy. Colorado is full of hiking and biking and mountains, and I really like all that stuff. I'm a runner and a cyclist, and I thought it'd be just a lovely place to live. It's a little expensive if you're used to Jackson County rents. You'd be surprised at how far your dollar does not go in Colorado Springs. So that was a little bit of a shock, but it's an interesting city. It's growing fast, has a diverse population, strong military and evangelical Christian, and then also a lot of kind of free thinkers and hippies, and just kind of a melting pot out here, and just beautiful temperature, weather, and lots of sun. And I miss the Ohio fall. You were saying Cantor's Cave. The leaves in Ohio are just so beautiful. And here we get some beautiful yellows and oranges, but we don't get the reds and the purples and all of that you get back home. So,
It's interesting, and I've said this a few times, and this is neither here nor there, other than, when you do travel around, we get kind of stuck in our own little bubble of where we live, and you think the whole world is like that. And, when you travel around, you go down south, you see more pine trees, things like that. And, as you're talking about, I would assume Colorado would have absolutely gorgeous falls with all kind of color and whatever. And you said not as much as we have here. And that is definitely one of the treasures of Southern Ohio is the beauty.
mm-hmm.
Not that Colorado isn't gorgeous as well, because it is.
It is, but it's different. And if you've ever lived in one place for a long time, it'll probably never feel like home if you live somewhere else. And the spring in Colorado is wonderful, but it's not as green as Ohio. On the other hand, we have a lot more sun. In the winter, it's not so dreary, and I think I've stepped in 2 mud puddles the whole 2 years I've lived here. So that's nice too. I don't miss the mud.
That would be great. And I was asking you off air because my cousin lives out in Boulder, and I'm not sure if that's close to you or not, but we were talking about, she said, Colorado's so strange because one day you'll have 15 inches of snow on the ground, and the next day it'll be 75. And it's just all over the place. So I thought that was really interesting as well.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. So, okay. James was telling stories on you the other day, and he said something about you showing up in a gorilla suit to school. Is that true?
So, Mad Magazine had a cartoonist named Don Martin, and Don Martin drew these silly cartoons in Mad Magazine that I read growing up, and he had a series of cartoons about people wearing gorilla suits, and they pop the gorilla suits, and sometimes sometimes it'd be a gorilla in a gorilla suit, or gorilla in a person suit, or 2 people in a gorilla suit, and so they had all these gorilla suit jokes. And Don Martin died on January 31st. I can't remember the year, and his fans decided to have National Gorilla Suit Day, and people would put on a gorilla suit on January 31st and do silly things. Oh, here James has a video.
Oh no, there's video proof.
Yes. So I would bring bananas to people, and the bananas would say "Happy Gorilla Suit Day" on them.
I love this.
January 31st, it's winter, and you start your semester, but it's cold and it's dreary because you're in Ohio, and it's dreary in Ohio in the winter, and it's a fun thing to kind of perk things up. And we did some little films, and it was just fun.
And there he is. See, we have video evidence that you did it.
Yeah.
So good, so good. All right, so you actually are coming back to Ohio and doing an art exhibit at Rio. Am I correct?
This is true, yes.
Yeah, and did I read that it said 400 pieces?
Yeah, so I was teaching at Rio started in 2005. I have 4 children. They're all adults now, but at the time they were young. And as an artist, it was difficult for me to make artwork and keep up with teaching and children and all of my other responsibilities, and it was important to me. And I was looking for a recipe for cooking brown rice on the internet, and I found a guy that had a recipe for cooking brown rice, but he had all this other stuff in there. And one of the things he had in his website was how to change your life in 30 days. And he said, don't try to change your life forever for 30 days. Just do it for 30 days. So he says, if you want to be a vegetarian, try it for 30 days. And at the end of the 30 days, you can decide to continue or not. He said, if you want to do weightlifting, try it for 30 days. And at the end of 30 days, see if you like it. And then people can say, oh, you should lift weights. Well, I tried it for 30 days, lifted weights every day. Wasn't for me. I'm not going to do it.
Sure.
So I said, well, I'll try doing a little drawing every day for 30 days because I'd been working on big projects that would take, 6 weeks of 4 hours a day to complete. And I couldn't do that with my life the many demands I had, teaching, administrative work, children, all that. I said, I'll just do a small drawing every day for 30 days.
Love that.
And I did that. And then I did it for another 30 days and another 30 days. So this project started on March 1st, 2008. And sometime in the middle of November, I'll hit 5,000 drawings. I often frame them, as you see in this picture, and hang large groups of them. In Rio, because of the expense and time of framing and shipping, we're going to hang them unframed on the wall, and we're going to hang between 400 and 500 drawings. So
Holy moly.
Little less than 10% of the project will be on display.
That is unbelievable. So where do you draw your inspiration every day? Seems like after a while you'd find it hard to have subjects to draw.
Well, there are times when that's difficult. Often I would draw from just events of the day, something that happened in that day, something that was on the news, something that happened in my daily life. Many of my drawings are abstractions. They're not a drawing of a thing. They're just shape and line and color. Landscapes. Well, here's a national championship. This person on the upper left, as we're looking at it, was a young transgender teen who killed herself in Cincinnati. And this drawing on the bottom right was a drawing of a stick I was using to make another drawing as a visiting artist at a college in Cleveland, Ohio. And so it varies. Sometimes they're drawn from life, from direct observation. Sometimes they're drawn from imagination or kind of cartoonish. Often there are series. So I did a series of the alphabet. So the letter A and a bunch of things that started with A, and then letter B. I started with all the way through the alphabet. I drew all the presidents. I drew, I think, 65 people with big beards because I like beards. So there's 2 months there just of beards. Just all kinds of silly things. My dog. This drawing in the upper left here, May 7th, this particular pile of rocks, I think I've drawn 4 or 5 times. There's drawings of different kinds of food. It was interesting, Jennifer, that when I put up a series of these drawings, I'll put up maybe 100 at a time. And I will not, I'll draw every day, and I finish the drawing, I just put it in a box. And then I finish the next drawing and put it in a box. And then when it's time to frame the work for a show, I'll open the boxes and say, well, I'm going to put work from the last year. And so I'll look through the year and select 100 drawings. I'll frame them and put them in the show. Mm-hmm. And I'll see things that I had forgotten. And so it's interesting to see kind of trends. For a while, there's a lot of drawings of this or a lot of drawings of that. So this is the first time I will have shown drawings selected from the entire time frame.
Wow.
And it'll be interesting.
I'm sitting here thinking many people, do a diary every day, and mm-hmm. these drawings are exactly that. And how fun, mm-hmm. and sometimes sad, sometimes motivating to go back and look at them and see where you were in your life at that moment on that day. It's like a diary.
And it's a little like the Facebook thing where it sends a little memory up of here you were 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 8 years ago, or whatever. It is like a diary. Some of the work is imaginary, so it's not all factual, right? So it's a diary of, I guess, my thoughts and images. It
sure.
reads a little like a novel or a memoir, but also like a diary. It's an interesting project.
Very, very cool. And how long did you say you've been doing this now?
Since March 1st of 2008, so 13 and a half years.
Wow. All for 30 days, huh?
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate the fact. We appreciate the fact that you continued on, because that allows us to witness your talent and appreciate your good work, or amazing work. All right, so let's talk about this art show. It's coming up beginning, November 4th?
November 4th. The opening is 5 o'clock p.m. at the Greer Museum in Rio Grande campus, right there on, what is it, 325, I think.
Uh-huh. And you'll be here in Ohio, right?
Yes, I'm flying in the end of this week and doing some family things, and then I'll be at the gallery on Sunday installing the show, getting started on that. It'll probably take a couple days to kind of get everything straightened out. I'm also going to do some work with area schools. I'm going to be visiting Washington Elementary in Gallipolis, Ohio, on Monday and Wednesday, working with school children there. The University of Rio Grande has an endowment called the Imagine Arts Endowment. And
Okay.
this was funded by a number of people, including Jackson native Brooks Jones. And they've donated, in addition to some other people, he was probably the largest donor. This endowment is set aside for bringing the arts to K through 12 students in the area in
Wow.
Southeast Ohio. He had a story about going to see a Shakespeare show in Cincinnati, and it changed his life, and it led him into a life in the arts, in music and theater for his whole life. And he wanted to have that opportunity for students. When I was working at Rio Grande, we brought in visiting artists a couple times a year to work with students, either in the classrooms or in the direct area, or even farther away. We went up to Federal Hocking and down to Portsmouth. We brought artists from Wales, from the Chicago area, from New York City, just from all over the place. And some before I was there, we brought in famous name artists, Julie Taymor, who's a Broadway producer, just tons of amazing artists. I mostly work with visual artists, but we also brought in musical artists, theater people, and did projects with students. Just been a ton of amazing projects. You might consider asking Kevin Lyles to be a guest, because I know he loves to be on TV. He could tell you about some of the projects that predate my experience. So anyway, I'll be working with the students at the college and at the elementary school. We're going to be doing drawings with sticks.
Drawings with sticks.
With sticks. We're going to just cut sticks, just like stick out of a tree, sharpen the end, dip it in ink, and draw with it.
Love it.
It's fun.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So you're going to be doing a lot of fun things while you're here in Ohio.
Yeah, we'll be putting the show up. We'll be doing some workshops with students, and then we'll have the exhibition opening on Thursday, the 4th at 5 o'clock.
All right. So then your show will be how can people come and see it, and how long will it be there?
I believe the closing date is the 20th. Normally the shows are up for about a month, but because of the Thanksgiving holiday, the school won't be open for that whole time.
Makes sense.
So it'll be up to the 20th, and people can go. I believe the museum's open 8 to 5, but I don't know. I haven't been there for a couple of years, so you probably have to check with the college. If you go to the RIO's website, you should be able to get the information.
Okay. Very good. So you have a couple of weeks at least to get to see this. And
Yeah.
how does one get to come to the opening reception?
You just walk in. There's no
Cool.
there's no fees, no reservations. I don't know what RIO's COVID restrictions are. I don't know if I'm assuming masks are required indoors, but I don't know that. I would of course urge people to follow their own good judgment on how to be safe. So
Well, if you wore a gorilla suit, you would have a mask on. You'd be just
you
fine.
would have a rubber mask and you sweat like a pig.
I mean, we'd all be really stinky by the end of the night, but
Everybody involved in this is glad that Don Martin had the foresight to pass away in the middle of winter when it's comfortable to wear a gorilla suit. If he had passed away in July, we would have all been roasted to death in those things.
it would have been rough, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, very good. So what's your favorite part about teaching?
Well, right now I'm not teaching.
Okay.
Right now I'm full-time as an administrator. I may move back into teaching at some point. I'm just still exploring options, and I'm
Gotcha.
53, trying to figure out what I want to do with my life, if you know what I mean.
I hear you. Yes.
Teaching, anybody that's ever taught knows that it's just immensely satisfying to be able to help somebody and help a student kind of find their way through whatever it is they're trying to explore. one of the things that I've discovered as an administrator, I have to, one of my jobs is to sit in on classrooms to evaluate faculty and,
Sure.
write up their, so I have to sit in, and after the class, I, make suggestions for how to improve and blah, blah, blah. And one of the things I've discovered is that it's hard to get faculty to stop lecturing and to work on other kinds of projects that are engaging for students. And the reason why, if you think about a college faculty, this is somebody who, it's a little bit of a stereotype, but maybe not super popular in high school, right? Maybe not super athletic, pretty smart, found one thing they really loved, studied it for years and years, and now they're in front of a bunch of young people that have to listen to them talk about that one thing that they know everything about and they love. And it's just really hard to stop doing that. And to
Makes
think about,
sense.
how can I structure this so the students are learning more rather than just I get a chance to talk about it. So that's a challenge. I think the greatest joy for me in teaching is that you're always surprised. Students are always surprising you, sometimes in difficult ways, but usually in really exciting ways.
Gorilla suits and all.
There you go. I came into class one day on a Monday. I'd given my students a project. This was at my first teaching job at a college in Georgia. They'd had a weekend to work on a project, and I came in on Monday. Class started at 9. I got there at 8 to do some paperwork or whatever. And my student runs up to me right as I walked in. I've got my bag and my lunch and my coffee. Runs up and meets me at the door. Benjy, I have to show you this thing. I said, oh, good. Yeah, I want to see it. Let me put down my bag. So I put down my bag. And we went to look at it. And she says, this isn't at all what you asked me to do. But I started doing this thing. I got really excited by it. And I spent all weekend doing it. And I want to show you. And I said, that is what I want to see. I want to see you engaged. And it was just so exciting for her to share that. And then I took her to a conference. This was printmaking class. I took her to a conference in Austin, Texas, I think. And I introduced her to somebody I knew professionally and told him about her. And he was a rich guy that liked to help young artists. And he gave her this small scholarship because of that enthusiasm. And so that was really cool.
And those are the rewarding days.
Yeah. And it's rewarding as an older faculty member, someone's been around for a while, to see people like James, who you saw as a student, who had an interest in something, that really wanted to learn and was able to find his way. And I was able to help sometimes, guide sometimes, advise, but he was really driven to succeed. And to see him go beyond what I could teach him and to learn all kinds of things that were way beyond me, and to exceed my skills in all those areas and my knowledge, and then to go on to have this incredible career. It's just really gratifying to see that I was able to kind of witness the beginning of that. It's just fun. It's nice to see.
Well, we appreciate you being a hand in that, because we love our sweet James, and he's amazing.
Sure.
He's also my therapist, which I have yet to pay him for.
Well, he's kind and gentle in that.
He is. When I come in the morning and I'm losing my mind and I have to vent to him, and then he talks me down off the cliff a lot, so it's good. So now I told him he could start billing me at any moment, but that's neither here nor there.
I think if I don't have a license and I bill you for that, I'm afraid that I might be setting myself up for some sort of legal repercussions.
Maybe.
You can sue him if he gives you bad advice. If it's free, you can't sue him, right?
I like that. No, not at all. Okay, cool. So you will be here then next week and setting up the your show and all of that. What do you hope that people take away from seeing your art?
I was thinking about this last night at 3 a.m. when I was supposed to be asleep. I've spent the last couple weeks kind of going through the drawings and trying to figure out which pieces to bring. And some of the work is of an adult nature. I don't think anything is obscene, but there's some things that are, adult topics.
Sure.
I watch the news and I see things in the news, and some of the things in the news I feel like are adult topics and maybe we shouldn't be showing children. Harvey Weinstein, the Me Too movement, school shootings. I mean, there's some heavy things in there. I also, when I draw, I often draw in the evening, and sometimes I'm kind of reflecting on the day. And for people that work at what I would call a typical work day, 8 to 5, and then you get home and you have family, things to take care of, and maybe somebody's cranky at home or the dishwasher breaks. When I get to the point of my day where I'm sitting down in my easy chair to draw, sometimes I'm frustrated, and that frustration or self-pity comes out. One of the things I hope people don't take away is that I'm a miserable human being with all these terribly sad drawings, because there's a lot of sad drawings in here. So I've been thinking about that a lot. I would encourage people, whether it's drawing or some other thing, I would encourage people to think about finding some time of self-expression, whether it's writing poetry, reading, conversation, I think can be that. Daily, to take that time every day to create something, to make something, read a poem, listen to a piece of music, and just really listen to the piece of music, not just have it playing while you're doing the dishes or whatever.
Right.
And I think one of the interesting things is to see how a little bit of time every day can create a massive thing, whatever that thing is. And so I hope people will take that away. I've thought a lot about the idea of happiness. Despite some of the gloomy drawings, I see myself as generally a happy person. But I've had a few tough periods in my life, and in one of them I studied happiness very deeply. I read 35 books about happiness, read all the podcasts, all those kinds of things. And I realized that there are 3 kinds of happiness. There's probably more kinds. There's 3 types that I'm thinking of now. One is a very brief period of happiness, ecstasy, where you're just absolutely bursting with joy right at that moment. That could be, something delicious you're eating, some kind of physical activity that you're involved in. That's just right then, it's perfect. I mean, just a burst, but it's short. It's super intense, but short. And that's one kind. Sure. Another kind is the end of that really good day. Maybe it was Thanksgiving and your family was all there and they weren't fighting, which maybe happens at your Thanksgiving. I don't know. Maybe it's, a date, a day with a special person, you spend the whole day together. In that day, you typically don't have that strong burst, but you have lots of smaller feelings of happiness and maybe a few bad things, like you went on a hike and at the end your foot was sore, but overall the day was really good. Sure. And then the third kind of happiness is this kind of lifelong thing, where you look back on 10 years or 20 years or some period of life and you say, boy, there were some real struggles, but also some real joys. Maybe college, all that anxiety about those tests, and then I graduated and that happiness there. And that's that third kind. And I think looking over the work, what I've realized is you have to have that sadness and that stress and that anxiety in order to have that joy and that exultation and that satisfaction, that those two have to come together, or you can't have that third kind of happiness. And so maybe there's some of that. Maybe some people will see that in their own lives. I don't know.
It is.
It was 3 a.m. I mean,
hey,
whether that makes any sense.
Makes total sense to me. No, it is a roller coaster ride for sure, and it has to be, because if it isn't, then you don't appreciate the other side of it.
Right.
So.
Right.
I love that. Well, is there anything else you would like to let our viewers know before we let you get back to work? We know you're very, very busy, and it's very, very early where you are, right?
Oh, yes, 7:30 my time.
Okay. Not as bad as it could be, but.
No, it's not bad. No, I thanks for having me on the show, and to all the listeners, I hope you're supporting local broadcasts and local activities. I think we spend a lot of time watching the national news and don't spend enough time looking at our neighbors and seeing what's going on. And the high school football games and the weather report are really important parts of our lives. So thanks for giving the time to me, and I hope I can see you at the opening, or if not, you can come and see the show.
Absolutely.
Well, I have a few more things I'd like to say. First of all, So you've been doing these drawings for what, 13 years, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, I have one that I'm a little partial to.
Hey.
So this is one you drew of me 11 years ago. This was part of your series, Facebook Friends with Sunglasses.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. How fun.
Oh, I'd forgotten that, James. Thanks for bringing that one.
So I'll come over here
He's coming over.
I'll come over here and let you see me for a minute before we let you go.
You look exactly the same.
Yeah. Well, you look mostly the same. You just have longer hair.
And greater.
You're a little more cleanly groomed back
More
in my day.
cleanly groomed.
But then, I think you just saw Dumbledore and Harry Potter a few too many times and took the headmaster idea a little bit too far, maybe.
Well, if we want to get him all cleaned up, we can send him to Jules next door.
Yeah.
She's our beard whisperer in town, so
Yeah,
All right.
she would do great. But I just wanted to say thank you for taking the time to come and do this today. You said a lot of nice things about me, and I just wanted to say thank you for that. And I don't think it's any huge surprise to anyone that you were my favorite teacher that I had throughout school, and I learned a lot from you. I learned how to learn from you. I think that is the most important thing that I learned in college. A lot of people think of college as just job training, but it's a lot more than that. And
a lot more than that.
And
should be.
Yeah, and learning how to learn was probably the number one thing that I took away from you, because you encouraged people to do things outside of what your regular curriculum was, find things that you thought were interesting, research it, and learn it. But also, like, anytime that we had a question, something that we didn't know how to do, and we came to you about it, you didn't always know the answer, but you almost always came in a couple days later with the answer, or at least an idea of how to problem solve it. And so I think that's the number one thing that I learned from you, and I just wanted to say thank you for it.
Oh, thank you, James. That's really sweet to hear. You're right about not knowing the answers. My first year teaching, my favorite thing was, we'll cover that on Thursday.
Love it.
Well, I remember, this may have been more from Kevin than you. I can't remember which one of you two told me this. But when you're talking about teaching, you said just make sure that you know at least a chapter ahead of where you are in the book, so that you can stay at least that far ahead of the students.
I'd be glad to be a chapter ahead every day.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
That's a good one. I love that. Yeah. Have you seen the meme? This is so bad. Do you remember the old, the square TVs that were on the cart and you pushed them, you pushed them in and had the VCR attached to it and all that? So I saw a meme the other day and it was, this is not applying to you, but it made me think of that. And it was like, little did we know when this cart showed up in our class how hungover our teacher was for the night before. Because when you're a kid, you think that your teacher is God. So I thought that was funny. Not that that's you. I just thought that was. I'm like, knowing my friends that are teachers now. Yep. So
I was never hungover, but I was pretty tired a few times.
I can see that. So when the cart came pushing in.
Yeah.
No. Well, thank you so much for spending time with us this morning. We greatly appreciate it, and we cannot wait to see the exhibit. And of course, that's going to be at the University of Rio Grande starting on November 4th.
And you did mention this kind of briefly, Benjy, but the Greer Gallery Museum, I'm not sure which is the right term, but the downstairs area is where Benjy will have his show, and that's where they rotate that in and out.
Okay.
But the upstairs is a permanent collection.
Oh.
That was largely donated by, you said his name a few minutes ago. Yeah, Brooks Jones.
Yes.
And some other people.
Yeah, and so there's a permanent collection up there, and there's some work from some pretty famous artists there that you may not have realized. Is that right?
I didn't know. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's a great collection. You should definitely see it. It's a small collection, but very, very good, and some really big names. Goya and Jasper Johns. Just some really big names, including a lot of work by Fletcher Benton, who was a Jackson a very famous artist, and he's the person who made the large red circular sculpture right on the middle of the campus grounds.
Right.
He passed away just a couple years ago. He was a great friend to Rio Grande and to Jackson County, and a really important artist.
Very, very good. Well, this is so exciting.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for hanging with us this morning.
Thanks so much.
And if you think of any dirt about James, you let us know, because he can't be perfect all the time.
I hear you.
God knows the rest of us aren't. No, all right. So, Benjy Davies, thank you so much for hanging with us this morning. We appreciate you, and best of luck in your career and also at the show.
Thank you.
All right. Have a
Thank
great
you.
day.
Bye-bye.
All right. That was so cool.
Yeah.
Very, very fun.
I knew he would be a good guest.
Yeah. Very good. And we got to see him in a gorilla suit, so that's
Right.
even better. All right, let's go on over to your weather forecast. And finally, we are getting into those fall-like days and temperatures. And some rain in the forecast today, mostly cloudy with showers and a chance of thunderstorms this morning and today, with highs only around 68 degrees. So time to get out those long sleeves and the jeans and all that stuff. For tonight, mostly cloudy. The showers and thunderstorms continue overnight, lows around 46. And for Tuesday, tomorrow, mostly cloudy. No rain in the forecast, but highs only around 55 degrees, lows down around 38. And that means we really, really, really need to start thinking about bringing those plants back in.
Yeah, frost is coming.
She is coming.
Yeah.
Amanda put it best the other day when she said, I've been playing Russian roulette with my with my plants. But
Yeah.
because you never know, it could be, it could say 40, but gets down to 35,
Right.
they're toast.
Right. Yeah. It's coming.
Yeah.
Not this week, next for sure.
Yep. And it's looking like kind of like high 50s to low 60s all week long, and
Yep.
a little rain in and out of the forecast. So I would have to think that this is kind of typical fall
Yeah.
weather. But man, I mentioned it earlier, we were out at Cantor's Cave yesterday, and it is just so pretty. And so Kaylin, one of our managers at the restaurant, got married yesterday. So a lot of the staff came out, and a lot of them had said they had never been to Cantor's Cave. And I said,
Yeah.
oh, you guys are in for a treat. And they had the best time. They went on a little hike, took
Yeah.
pictures. Like, they were like, we had no idea this was out here. And I'm like, oh, yeah, it's gorgeous.
That was one of the things that when I was at Rio, we did probably once a year. One of our professors, he took us all out there, and we went and took that kind of short hiking trail around the
Yep.
lake and took photos and things like that.
Yeah, it's just
Great time.
again, a hidden gem right here in
Yep.
our area that a lot of people don't even know about. And
Speaking of hidden gems right here in our area that we don't know, a lot of people might not know about, I have to give a shout out to what we did this weekend.
okay,
On Saturday, we took my nephew, who's about to turn 3, to the Noble Farms in
yes,
Memphis. No,
I don't know.
Memphis.
I've never
Memphis.
been, but
So
I see
have you seen
pictures
the
all
pictures?
the time. Yeah,
It is so freaking cute.
I've
is
heard
like-
that it's just so much fun.
Yeah, it's like a mini amusement park for kids in Memphis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying, Memphis, right? Yeah, Memphis. I don't know, I'm confusing myself. It was so nice.
Yeah.
It was so nice. My nephew's favorite thing, it was a giant sandbox, but it wasn't sand.
Is it corn?
It's corn.
Yeah, someone else was telling me they took their little boy there, and
Yeah.
he's about the same age, and he was like, he was the king of the
Freaking
corn, man.
loved it.
He just loved sitting in
Yeah.
that corn.
It was
Yeah.
so much fun.
So cute.
It was so cute. It was so much fun. It's admission's like $8 for adults. Kids under 3 or under 2 or something like that are free. So if you have kids probably under 10, take them to that. I don't know
Yes.
how late into the year they're open, and the weather's going to drop soon, but it is super cute.
That is so fun. And don't they have like slides and all
Dude,
kind
they've
of fun
got
stuff for them to do?
everything. They've got slides. They had a pumpkin patch. They had a corn maze. They had so many it's just a giant playground, like a fall themed playground.
I
Basically,
love that.
the most fun thing for adults is they have these catapult. Well, it's a slingshot. It's not a catapult. You shoot like rotten apples at targets.
Yes.
So for like,
That would be so therapeutic.
Yeah, so for like $5, they give you this giant thing of like rotten apples, and there's these giant slingshots, and you just like shoot them at like, and they just explode and go everywhere.
I feel like we need to go.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, we have to go.
Dude, it was so much fun. I really recommend checking that out if you've got kids.
That would be a blast.
And they had food carts there, and they were good. They were really good.
There you go.
And they weren't expensive either. Like, you could get like a hot dog for $1.
Oh.
So it's like an affordable, family like weekend trip.
And again, where in the big city you going to find something like that?
Dude, it was so nice. I mean, like, yeah, you go to the Columbus Zoo or whatever, but you're going to spend a lot more than $8 there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't get to sit in a giant box of corn.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. So I definitely recommend anyone with young ones to check that out.
Sure.
Noble Farms. It's on Facebook. Check it out.
Yeah, and if unless you're living under a rock and you're not on social media, I'm sure you've seen pictures of it from somebody.
So cute. I hadn't heard of it. My sister was like scouring the internet trying to find like something, in our area to go to, and that's what we found. So much fun.
Good. I'm so happy.
Super cute.
And your nephew, does he have a birthday coming up?
He turns 3 on the 27th of November.
Oh,
I think that's right. So just a
cutie
couple
pie.
days after Thanksgiving and just a couple days before my birthday.
Well, very good.
Yeah.
So you guys can party together.
We will.
Okay.
Yep.
Sit in a big pile of corn together.
We sit in the corn. So they have another one that's kind of the same thing, only instead of sand, it's like little like pebbles, kind of like what the rocks that you would see at like a playground.
Yeah.
But it's like, lifted up like a sandbox, and then they've got like toy like bulldozers and stuff like that, and it's called the construction zone. So we were getting cold and ready to go home, so we made sure he didn't see that one, because we knew if he did, we would have been there for another hour.
He would have been constructing for a while. Yeah.
But it's so cute. Like, think how cute you think it probably is. It's cuter than that.
Well, get down there, and again, local people doing good, and they should be commended for that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Noble Farms in Medford.
Yep.
Check it out.
All right. You know what else you can check out today?
What?
Spaghetti.
Spaghetti dinner, Kiwanis Club.
Kiwanis Club spaghetti dinner is today.
Today, all day.
That's right, and it goes from 5 to 7:30 p.m. And it is at the Christ United Methodist Church Family Life Center. That's the one right beside the police station here in town. Yep. And the Kiwanis spaghetti dinner, are you ready for this? You pull up. They're doing a carry-out or a drive-through. You pull up $6 per person for a meal.
How much would you spend at Olive Garden for that? $20?
Probably.
Yeah.
It includes spaghetti with sauce, salad, roll, and dessert. And you can also purchase raffle tickets. That was the word I was looking for. And they are doing $5 each, or 5 for $20. And the raffle winner gets this ginormous bucket of stuff.
Lots of stuff.
Like maybe carload full of stuff. Yeah, it's huge.
That's why Carmen the Carman is involved in it.
Right.
They've
got to
borrow one of those giant trucks off the lot.
That's right, to haul all the stuff.
Deliver the raffle prize.
So, but no, that's really, really cool. So please, and don't forget, the Kiwanis Club does so much good for our local youth. All the money stays here locally, and they do all kind of great things for kids. They do lots of scholarships. They buy, coats and mittens and hats and extra clothing and just anything kid-wise they do. Yep. So please get out, support the Kiwanis Club tonight, and eat some delicious spaghetti. My advice, get a couple of dinners.
Oh, man.
$12. You can get 2
for $12. That's a lot of carbs.
I know.
2 spaghetti dinners.
I know. Hey, by the way, speaking of carbs, cutest idea yesterday at the wedding that we were at.
Yeah.
Baked potato bar.
Yeah. Good stuff.
That was, yes. Everyone, It was so funny. So if you're thinking about a wedding, you're not sure what to do. Baked potato bar. Number one, we're on a low carb diet, but Jamie and I are both like, out the window today, we're eating the potato. But I can tell you that here you have all these grown adults like children, like loading up these baked potatoes with everything.
Yeah.
It was so good. And it's such a good wedding idea.
Yeah.
Because you got those great big potatoes, like the ones that are this
like
big.
the size of a football.
Yes, those potatoes. So that's what you start with.
Right.
And then they had pulled pork, chili, pulled chicken, bacon, cheese, sour cream, jalapenos, like butter, anything that you could think of to put on a potato. They had that.
Yeah.
It was such a good idea. And I'm looking around the table and I'm looking, because it's just what I do. And like everyone's like giggling, eating these potatoes, and they had so much fun with them.
Sounds like a good time, man.
It was such a good idea. I'd never would have ever thought of it. And so there you go. If you're planning a wedding and you're not sure what to do, it was a hit.
Yeah. Sounds good.
I didn't have anyone say, "This is stupid. Why do I have to eat a potato?" Like everyone's like, "Yes." So there you go. But that's what you're going to say tonight too if you go to the Kiwanis spaghetti dinner, the world famous Gambino spaghetti sauce. I mean, if your name's Gambino,
Gambino's original.
I'm guessing you probably know how to make some spaghetti sauce.
I don't know.
So it's pretty darn good stuff. So get there tonight.
Yep.
Listen, give Mom a break.
Mama Gambino.
Mom doesn't have to cook tonight. Yep, Mama Gambino. And bring home some spaghetti for her, and then she doesn't have to cook tonight, and you guys can just chill out and watch a movie or do whatever.
Speaking of watching movies,
yes,
I watched Dune last night.
Like Dune, like the old Dune?
No, the new one that just came out this weekend.
There's a new Dune.
It is a lot.
Explain to me what Dune is, because I've never seen it.
So it's kind of hard to explain.
But it's an old school movie, right?
So Dune is the best-selling science fiction novel of all time.
Okay.
It came out in the late 60s. In the 1980s, like indie director David Lynch made a big budget version of it. It's really the only like Hollywood movie David Lynch has made.
Okay.
David Lynch, if you don't know, is the creator of the TV show Twin Peaks.
That guy.
That guy. So he's
out there.
He's out there, yeah. So the movie was a big flop, but it has like a cult following.
Okay.
And then the novel itself has a cult following. And
what's it about?
I'm getting to it.
Okay.
I'm getting to it. But it's been, ever since that movie, it's been, well, when is somebody, when is George Lucas or, somebody that's like a more like seasoned science fiction, like Hollywood director going to make Dune? And it's been like 30 years in the making now.
Oh.
So the new Dune film, which is, they're not advertising it this way, but it is part 1. So this is just like the first chapter.
So
it's
this
3
is like
hours
Star
long.
Wars? Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, the plot of Dune is it's like a dystopian future, people living in space. Some of the planets are like dying and whatever. So there's this one desert planet that is where they harvest the raw material to create fuel for space travel.
Okay.
And whoever governs over this planet sort of like has the most valuable natural resource in the solar system.
Okay.
And the emperor, who is like unseen in this part, tells the people that currently run this planet, who are like a very rich like military civilization, that they have to leave, and they bring in this other group to run this like mining colony.
Okay.
And so the new people come in, and the people that were forced to leave are mad, and they attack them to try to take back the mining facility. So that sounds like kind of boring, but like it's a lot. Like that.
There's a lot going on.
Is a lot going. It's very Game of Thrones.
Okay.
It's more Game of Thrones than Star Wars.
Gotcha.
So I mean, except it's in space.
So Is there lots of people killing each other then?
Yeah. I mean, most of the killing
Because
isn't
Game of Thrones, I've never
Yeah.
seen a show where
It's-
more people got lopped
Right.
off in my life.
right.
than-
It's not
than that
until
show.
like the third. I'm spoiling it a little bit. It's not until the third act that there's like really any action and stuff. But it's a lot. It really is a lot. And like I said, it is only the first part. I'm not familiar enough with the story to know if they're planning on being 2 parts or 3 parts or
Gotcha.
whatever. If J.K. Rowling was doing it, she'd want to make it 8 parts.
Right.
But it's really a lot. It's showing at Tri-City now, I'm pretty
Oh,
sure.
cool.
So, and it's also on HBO Max. So, I mean, if you like Star Wars, if you like Game of Thrones, it's absolutely worth a watch.
Okay.
If you don't like Star Wars and you don't like Game of Thrones, you probably won't like Dune.
Gotcha.
But it's a lot. Like, my description does not do it justice. Like, as I was watching it, I was like, how do you describe this to somebody?
Is it intellectually stimulating? Or is
Yeah,
it like...
I mean, because it's talking about, I don't know, the same way Game of Thrones is. It's like, you know, the regal king that's like, you know, leading by example versus like the ruthless, you know, like
yeah,
leading by the sword kind of thing.
gotcha.
So yeah, I mean, if you consider that,
How'd that work out for the
intellectual,
Regal
yes.
King?
I mean, I don't want to spoil anything, but
It didn't.
yeah, but yeah, it's a lot.
Okay.
And like I said, if Star Wars, Game of Thrones, if that's your jam, Star Trek, absolutely see it.
Very good. So there you go. Now you
Yeah.
know.
Now you know.
And you can see it at Tri-City Theater?
I'm pretty sure it's a Tri-City and
Okay.
Silver Screen. I mean, it should be pretty much everywhere.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I didn't even heard of it.
Yeah. Well, it's been a long time kind of coming thing. It's maybe one of those things that it's like, if you know, you know, but if you're not really interested in like science fiction, maybe it's
Yeah.
not on your radar.
Gotcha.
But yeah, this is something that's been like, 30 years kind of coming.
I also feel like the movie companies, in a way, are just not doing a really good job of promoting
Yeah.
movies right now.
Well, I don't know.
Or maybe
I've
there's
definitely
just
seen
a
a lot
lot
of
of
Ghostbusters
movies.
advertisements. I think they're in kind of like a rock and a hard place right now with theaters and the streaming kind of both doing things.
Correct.
And the movies that are like only in the theaters have to advertise a little bit more aggressively, like Ghostbusters, for example. It's
Sure.
only going to be in theaters versus this, which is also on HBO Max. So it's like if you already have HBO Max, it's bam, it's right in your lap.
I feel like I feel like watching Ghostbusters needs to be like a 2-part thing. I feel like you need to watch the original again to like refresh your memory about how it went, and then watch this one because
Yeah.
it's kind of a sequel, I guess, if
Right.
you will. Like it's talking about the family of one of the original
Mhm.
Ghostbusters. So I almost feel like you kind of need to go back and
Well, you absolutely should, because Ghostbusters is one of the best movies
it's
ever
so
made.
good anyway.
Ghostbusters 2, not as good, still fun.
Yep.
But I suspect that they probably do a pretty good job of filling you in on
Maybe.
who's- because the characters in this film don't know that story because they're kids, so they weren't alive in night. So
Well,
so
and
the characters in the film are going to have to learn about that stuff. So they become an audience surrogate. So if you don't know that story, you're going to learn about it as they learn about
well,
it.
because if you think about kids today that would go and watch that movie, they would have
Mhm.
no idea about the original Ghostbusters.
Right.
They weren't born then.
Right.
So yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
So still be fun to watch the original.
Well, yeah, you should absolutely watch Ghostbusters.
Absolutely. All right, high school football playoffs.
Yep. Couple
This
big
coming
wins
weekend.
over this weekend.
Yes.
Jackson, big win over Chillicothe. 40-something to nothing, I think.
I did not
42 to
see
nothing.
the score.
Yeah, it was 42 to nothing, I think.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then Benton County, big win over Wellston, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so there you go. In high school football playoffs, one team gets the home
Yeah,
advantage.
Jackson gets a home playoff game.
Yep, playing Columbus South this coming Friday at home. Time to be announced, but it will be on WKOV
Yep.
FM and, of course, on your Total Media Radio app.
Right.
Um,
Pete Wilson is happy that he doesn't have to drive to Columbus.
Yep, Dan and Pete Yep, don't have to do that. Also on Friday, to be announced time-wise, but Benton County will go to Byesville Meadowbrook, and that one will be on WYRO FM and, of course, on the Total Media Radio app.
Right.
And I have no idea where Byesville Meadowbrook is.
I don't know either.
But we'll look it up. And then on Saturday,
Yep.
Wellston gets the
Dubious honor of going to
distinction
Wellston.
of going to Ironton.
Ironton.
Down State Route 93 and playing the Ironton Tigers on Saturday, and that will be to be announced as well, and on WYPC AM and 105.3 FM and on your Total Media Radio app. And I've got to look up and see where Byesville Meadowbrook is. B-Y-E-L.
I mean, I'm going to guess it's probably a Columbus suburb.
Byesville, Ohio is
No? Further
Cambridge.
North? Cambridge.
2 hours and 5 minutes from here.
Man.
And
I do not miss 2 hour.
way past Zanesville,
Yeah.
way east of Zanesville.
It's no good way to get to Zanesville.
You can't get there from here.
Yeah.
Like it says the fastest route is to go through Parkersburg and up that way. You can go through Columbus and go due east. Travel 70, as the professor did.
Yeah.
Or you can take some back roads, which I would not recommend.
Not in a school bus.
No.
When we drove up to Memphis the other day, Dad told his story. We talked about Buzz Fisher, who, of course, we lost about a year ago. He, in addition to being the voice of the Oaks for a long time, he was also a bus driver for a while. And Dad told a story about Buzz getting lost in the school bus going to Memphis. And he's like, right there, that's where Buzz got off track. And then about 2 miles down the road, he's like, that's where Buzz came out.
Oh, that would stink so bad to be lost in a school bus with kids.
Right. And of course, this was 1990 or whatever.
Right. You didn't have your GPS to follow back then.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right. So we had a great guest here on the program today, but tomorrow we have another exciting guest.
Yeah.
And she will actually be here in person.
She will be here in person. Yeah.
Okay. And that is Rosa Aldrich. And Rosa has actually lives in Japan.
Right. She's a Jackson native.
Yes.
That's lived in Japan for several years now.
That's right.
And what's really cool was she was a volunteer at the Tokyo Olympics.
How cool is that?
It's very cool.
So we're going to talk with her about her experiences and just living in Japan in general, but also her experiences getting to volunteer at the Olympics, and how did the pandemic, how has it affected her, and of course the Olympics in general, and what a cool thing to get to see. So, and
we want to give a shout out to Red Thompson, who set this up for us.
That's right.
Yeah.
So thank you, Red.
Thank you, Red.
Great job. So Rosa will be here on the program tomorrow, and we look very, very forward to chatting with her. That's what we're here for, to maybe bring a little bit of...
Yeah, highlight local people doing cool things.
Yeah.
You might go away, but that, come back. Still want to show off all the cool things that people from our area are doing.
That's right. And, as your professor said earlier, Benjy said earlier, we all get stuck in our own little bubble. And, it's a big old beautiful world out there, and we need to open our eyes to it. Yeah. And, whether that be, as he said, read a poem every day, or, read a news story from another country every day, or do something to realize that we're just very, very small pieces of a ginormous world out there that has so much beauty and interest and education for us.
Right.
Gosh, we can learn so much if you just open your eyes.
Yep.
So I don't have the talent to draw a picture every day. I don't have the talent to draw one picture.
Well, you don't have to be good at it. You just have to spend a little bit of time at it. I mean, what he's saying, he's only spending like half hour, maybe an hour on those.
Doing this.
And over time, he's accumulated this, huge, massive artwork. And it's that little bit of time dedicated to something over time becomes a huge accomplishment.
Yep.
So.
You know, one of the things, one of my niece's best friends, I saw one day on social media that she had taken a year, and this was before pandemic, because it would be really hard during all of this madness to do whatever. But she took one thing, so one time a month, so for 12 months, so she did 12 different things that she had never done before, and they were like outside of her box and comfort zone.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, one of them could be, you know, you go to one of those wine and painting classes, but one of them she went skydiving. Yeah. You know, one of them, it's just like, and so then she posted like her experience. And I thought that was just such a neat, it's only 12 things.
Yeah.
We could all do that.
Right.
12 things you've never done before. Right. That's not real hard to figure out.
I couldn't name 12 things that I did in the last year that I'd never done before, I don't think.
Me either.
But it wouldn't be that hard. If you set out to do one a month, it wouldn't be that difficult.
Correct. And they don't all have to be skydiving.
Right. It can be going to a painting class.
Correct.
Right.
Make a piece of pottery that, you know, we have a place right here in Jackson that you can do that. Like things like that you've just never done before. But I think that would be a fun thing to do for a year.
Right. Yeah.
That month had come around really fast though. Like, oh shoot, what am I going to do this month?
Oh, it's the 31st.
Oh, dang.
Has anybody got an opening for skydiving this afternoon?
I feel like I'm just going to go get it. Yeah, go skydiving.
I'm out of time. Maybe I should go get a tattoo.
Yeah, right. That's what I was thinking. Need to go get tattoos. What of? I don't care. Just tattoo me with something. Because I have to get my time in. Oh, shoot. But yeah, no, there's just a lot of things to do. And you just have to kind of be creative. So, all right. Is there anything else that we need to do today?
No, I think we ought to get out of here.
Got to get out of here. And it is, don't forget, a little bit cooler in the forecast this week. Some rain in and out every day of the forecast, but that's okay. It's what we need to keep our things growing and pretty. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for filling in, and also thank you so much for inviting Benjy to be with us today.
Yeah,
he's happy fun to talk to.
Yeah, I was happy to get the opportunity to invite him.
And he said wonderful things
about you.
I know,
that's why I invited him.
I mean, hello.
I knew he'd say something nice about me.
I don't know if I could ever find a teacher that would say anything nice about me. All right. Well, have a great day, everyone. We appreciate you for tuning in, spending your morning with us, or throughout the day if you get to watch the tape and the rebroadcast. So have a wonderful day, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow with special guest Rosa Aldrich.
Bye, guys.
Bye.